1 minute, we're waiting for one of the panelists.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A very good morning and assalamu alaikum. So I'll just brief you the format of this panel discussion. I'll ask first an open question. The question I'll be asking for everyone. And then we'll open for the audience for questions. And then in between, I may ask some questions. And also we'll have a closing statement from each and every panelist. And that will be in Divehi. So please join me welcoming the esteemed panelists. My first question is, as an opening question, the modern legal framework for digital trust and governance is the key pillar, the most important pillar in this journey, safeguarding all other pillars. What's your takeaway, Dr. Naufal?
Yeah, I think everything happens when we have legal authority. So it's, I think, one of the most important things that's need to happen in order to solve most of our problems that we have identified as challenges. So I think that is it.
Yeah. I don't have much to comment on other than what Dr. Naufal just said. It is how we gain the power we need. It's how we are assured that we can actually go forward with what we are trying to do right now. So empowering all the pillars, empowering ourselves as well. So, yeah, that's my take on this.
Naufal.
Yeah, I guess I also don't have much to add on to that, but I think in addition to what has already been said, I think it's also important that when we are adopting legislations that we accept the principles behind those laws. So for instance, we are talking about data protection or privacy. Is that something the public wants? Or when you're talking about the private sector, is the private sector ready to embrace the principles that we would have in a Data Protection Act? So if they are not ready for it, even if we bring those legislations in place, it probably would not be implemented. But it is important that backbone is necessary. But when we go and install that backbone, or when we have those legislations in place, it's also important to have that support from the public as well as the private sector.
Thank you, Naufal. Now I open for the audience. Any questions if you have for the panelists?
All right. Hi. Okay. So my question is actually from a community member. They were asking about we are trying to digitalize everything, right? And one of the key things that a lot of institutions, including the government, that wants to be very physical is the land registry or the house registry, right? We need that physical copy to be presented to the bank for loans, loan mortgages, or a whole bunch of other stuff. So you did mention that in the future, in the plan, maybe like 2-3 years later, there will maybe a digitization of contracts, but I don't know if this falls into that one. Do we have any plans to do that? Maybe the PG office can. Yeah.
Abdul, please. Yeah. Can you repeat the question? Make it very
land
precise.
Land registry, yeah, or house registry, whatever you want to call it. Gotika registry.
Land registry,
yeah.
About land registry, whether we have plans. Yeah.
So you want to assure that does it fall under the current act itself?
No, I mean, yeah, can we digitize it is the primary question, yeah.
depends on how we approach it, I guess. Is it practical? If it is, why don't we actually digitize it itself? But are there implications? And do the implications mean there is a significant impact negatively? So if in that case, we might be able to consider where we are going to take it, not to deflect. I think one of the biggest challenges is identifying what we really need in this digital transformation. Because it's not a race itself, it is a slow journey, but hopefully it will bring in fast benefits as well.
I think that's one of the primary reasons why we are having this summit, where we are trying to digitize basic stuff like birth certificates, registries, and other, basic stuff. Even colleagues at Estonia also, have already done all of that.
One of the premises of this is that this is not definite right now. We don't have we are trying to, this summit itself is to empower the plan itself. We are trying to bring in as many feedbacks, as many suggestions that is available with the industry experts as well, so that we can actually bring in a comprehensive plan for this.
The reason I asked was because this has to be codified in the law, because the law right now requires that the document be physical and then be present. Yeah.
True. Thank you for the question. I think it's an important question. Let me add one more thing. Under the Digital Maldives project, we are having activity, we have an assignment to modernize the entire civil registration and vital statistics system. So with that land registry also will be digitalized. Of course, if you have to make a change to the regulation or existing laws, that will be in the pipeline, so that will be covered. Yeah, my next question is for Naufal. On 31st December 2022, the Trans-Maldian Airways hit by a major ransomware attack. It has lost 350 GB of data, which includes staff data as well as business secrets. And they were down for 2 days. It was 31st December. Imagine the peak time is in the sea. People are traveling for the new year. And my question for you is, and also the recent incident, the fire incident in Mali, 3 ministries has been affected. They have lost almost everything, including the data. So my question for you is, with this Cybersecurity Act, Data Protection Act would have a positive impact for this safeguarding all this?
Yes, I think it would have a positive impact. And when we're talking about cybersecurity, Cybersecurity Act would not be a standalone act. There are other acts that are also important, and some that we have already implemented, like amendments to our criminal procedure code, and the penal code has already criminalized a lot of these cyber crimes that we see. So back when that incident happened, that was not a crime in Maldives, so you can have a ransomware attack and it's not a criminal offense, but it is a criminal offense starting from 17th December of last year. So that's progress that we've made. But with that aspect of criminal investigations that police would be conducting, I think one aspect that was missing was the National Cybersecurity Agency, or a CERT, that would act in those circumstances. So that missing that framework meant that when that happened, they have kind of had nowhere to go. Also, when we are talking about like a coordinated effort, who would lead that coordination? Would it be police? Would it be the Defense Ministry? Would it be NCIT? So the mandate was not clear as to who will do what. But I think with the Cybersecurity Act, that mandate will be clear as to who will lead that operation in terms of a CERT, and who will lead the criminal investigation and how they can actually coordinate the effort. So I think that would be a positive step when we are talking about incidents like this, which I think would happen in the future as well. But I think with the Cybersecurity Act, the efforts by law enforcement agencies will be coordinated. And perhaps with prevention as well, a Cybersecurity Act would mean that we would have some industry standards or regulations that they would follow. So with those in place, we might be able to reduce the occurrence of ransomware attacks as well. But in addition to that, in circumstances in which it happens, the effort will be much more coordinated.
Thank you, Naufal. My next question is for Dr. Naufal. In the year 2022, Stelco, our state electric company, has been hit by another ransomware attack, and their service was interrupted. My question for you is, in the Cybersecurity Act, is there any way that would enable to create a critical infrastructure registry and maintenance of this registry, and how that would address in that act?
Yes, the answer is yes. There is Chapter 4 of Cybersecurity Act, which is designated especially for critical infrastructure. And like you said, but Stelco recovered very quickly due to the standards they already have. So I think with the CI identification, because after the legislation, there is a period of time which we get to identify and publish the designated CIs. And once they have been designated, there are certain roles that they have to fulfill. And yesterday we talked about the NIST and all kind of frameworks. So I think that addresses very well.
Thank you, Dr. Naufal. Any questions from the audience? Yeah. Nice.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. I'm Nais from Ministry of Finance and Planning. My question is, with the establishment of Maldives Digital Services, what's going to happen to NCIT? What's going to happen to the National Cybersecurity Agency? And who is going to take care of the network infrastructure that's maintained and looked after by NCIT currently? Who is going to look after the data center and the servers? Because an authority is not responsible for development and maintenance, in my view. So what's going to happen to NCIT? What's going to happen to NCSA? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I think
Yeah, that's a very good question. From one perspective, NCSA is not under NCIT. NCSA is under the ministry itself. It is a separate body. And NCIT is transitioned into MDS. And yes, when you transition into an authority, providing the service is a questionable issue right now. But the thing is, for us, the current state of affairs that we have, we cannot immediately just abandon everything, right? So we will transition slowly. The idea is MDS is a full regulatory authority. So hope maybe in the future, but for now we are retaining the National Computer Network. We will be looking after everything of the National Computer Network, as well as some of the services that we have, including EFAS, including GEMS, and we will also be undertaking the data sharing platform interoperability prospect, as well as establish a sovereign cloud infrastructure. So for now, we are retaining these components, but maybe in the future, because we are a regulatory authority and we do not want to have, make it impractical, in the future, we might transition to full regulatory authority and disseminate the other products to the relevant agencies. Hope that answers your question.
thank you, Abdul.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Azam. I'm from Department of Judicial Administration. So I was just going through the documents, and it's not a question, okay? It's a small issue. I think the pillar 4 document is missing. So am I the only one?
Pillar 4 document is missing? Is it?
So
So
I
I
would
think maybe the
appreciate-
Secretariat can answer that.
I think this is a quite important pillar, so I would like to go through
Okay,
it.
that will be addressed after the panel, yeah. Your
Thank you.
question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your presentation, Abdullah Hussein's deputy minister, mentioned legitimizing EFAS. So is this happening before a digital ID, or is it going to happen after a digital ID? And how does EFAS relate to a digital ID? Because EFAS is a single sign-on solution.
Well, a good question. EFAS is currently a single sign-on, but we have already made plans to fully evolve it into a digital ID, and we are actually currently working to bring in the digital ID as soon as possible. And it's in pre-drafting stages. We are just starting the studies at the moment, but it's going to be fast-tracked, hopefully, with this Maldives 2.0 Act. And it might be a bit premature to say this, but we don't really have a mechanism yet, but hopefully we will fast-track this and try to bring in any relevant law that will empower the digital ID vision as well within the phase 2 at the very least.
Thank you, Abdullah. Before you take the question from the audience, I would like to ask a question, Abdullah. Last year, the World Bank has conducted an assessment on 14 different government agencies to understand the readiness of data sharing among these agencies. And the country score was 2.06. And there were 5 categories. Under these 5 categories, the governance was one of the categories. The governance was least scored, and it was 1.06 only. With these laws, will there be any improvement, and how that would be addressed in this?
A very good question. I think everybody has in their minds when we took the best benchmark we have right now is the indexes that we see in every related component. And as you said, data governance was one of the lowest, I think, if not the lowest, right? Yes, this bill will improve. Hopefully, I say is in our context is inshallah. Basically, we will do our best to support the endeavor itself, but the bill is designed to improve the scores as well. It includes privacy by design, privacy by default. It establishes the data protection authority. It classifies what personal data is. So there are a number of things that it by design will should improve the score in the future.
Oh, thank you, Abdullah. We'll go to, Mustafa.
Yes, thank you. My
Please,
name
many
is...
many requests are there from the audience, so I think one question would be enough.
Yeah, my name is Abdullah Mustafa. I'm the CA of Maldives Social Welfare Information Systems Project. My question is, now we are talking about cyber security as well as cyber crime. Laws coming in place, and we are trying to penalize people and making them prosecuted. Now, the question is that you mentioned there are incidents happen, and very critical infrastructure is being impacted by these incidents. One of them is our energy. I mean, that may be the only energy source in Malé city. So Malé will be blackout if maybe something goes wrong. Now, would there be any place in the law that the IT authority in that organization or the leadership will be penalized for negligence? Thank you.
Dr. Naufal, maybe would you like to address?
At the moment, there are compliance standards, but if it is not met, there are measures that to be taken. But in the law itself, there is no mention of any penalization. We want actually, because at the early stage, we want the collaboration. The key thing is the collaboration. But I think in the Cybercrime Act, the new amendments, there are things that actually enforce. So would you like to add something?
directly trying to address that question, I suppose negligence per se would not amount to a criminal offense, but there are instances, for instance, looking at the range of criminal offenses that we have would include things like illegal access, illegal interception, system interference. All of this has been criminalized. So if that happens, and if someone within an organization is involved in that system interference or has in some way aided in the illegal access or interception of data, then that person can be prosecuted. So this is not something that we are saying that we will be doing in the future. I just wanted to mention that this law already exists and we can prosecute people for illegal access, interception, system interference, and a whole range of other offenses, which even goes to things like intellectual property, as well. So a whole range of offenses are there. It's just that the law is fairly recent, so people are not aware. And the incidents that we've talked about today happened before the law was enacted. So to answer your question directly, if someone within an organization is involved, yes, that person can be prosecuted. But I think, as Dr. Naufal mentioned, the aim of a Cybersecurity Act is not necessarily to penalize people, is to ensure that the standards are met. And I suppose if those standards are not met, or if the cybersecurity experts involved in those organizations are not doing their job, actions can be taken within the normal regulatory framework of employment law. If they're not doing their job, action can be taken against them. But I don't think a Cybersecurity Act is necessarily needed to address concerns like that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Now for, yeah,
yes,
please. Here.
Yes, I have a question. Considering MDS...
Please, sorry, I think it is... Okay. We'll go, after this. Okay. Yeah, please.
Right, thank you. I was just listening to your conversation and then thinking, let's not limit governance just to the legal framework, because governance has a lot of potential to take this program through all the cross-cutting sectors and keep it together and bring it together. Let's say, for example, our society, I would say our society has now become what I call a 5-year society. That means every 5 years a president is elected, and once the president comes in, all the previous policies are overhauled and we start fresh and new. All the good projects are gone. So this probably is a great opportunity. The digital transformation of the country, of all sectors, is a great opportunity for governance to come through and become the backbone to take us through in solid formation so that it's not overhauled after 5 years. Or in 10 years' time even, if they come.
It's a very good question, sir. Yeah, we know where we are, right? So, yes, Abdul, please.
Yeah, I guess it is a very good question, because obviously one of the biggest sentiments of people is that because of the transition of the president or the government itself, does a project get abandoned, or is there a more concrete way? So in a way, Maldives 2.0 Act itself is designed not just for a certain period of time. It's supposed to be taken forward even after any transition of any government. And there is a Digital Transformation Council formed within the President's office where the President will reside. Yeah, but obviously it's filled with the political appointees, but even with the transition of power, the council still remains. It will have to be effective. It will have its mandated decision-making process. It is essentially the oversight that we have prepared in this case, and it will guide the agencies under it that support the digital transformation itself.
Yeah, thank you. One last question from the audience.
Okay, considering MDS will be responsible for the digital identity and also the infrastructure and governance, yes. So my question is, how will you structure the MDS's governance to ensure the operational independence? And what is the exemplary countries that you have looked into establish this model in governance? Yes.
I guess one aspect would be that we've reviewed some other countries as well, and we have studied some applied a local context to this for now, because of the landscape that we have. Our current landscape is a bit challenging itself. We have not concretely designed the full structure or an approach, but we will, as I said before, we will retain some of the services for now, and we will ensure that the NCIT's role will not change in itself. We will be carrying forward some of these work that are being done as we transition as well.
Thank you, Abdullah. I would like to add one more thing. For the NCIT to transform as a security body, what we call is Maldives Digital Services. The World Bank project, the Digital Maldives project, also will support the restructuring effort. So that means the international expertise will bring it in. And then there will be, of course, the different cases will be compared, and then the best case scenario will be recommended by the experts from the World Bank. So before we close the session, I have one more question to Dr. Naufal. Your agency is at a very infant stage. It has to go a long way. In order to establish your agency, how crucial is Cybersecurity Act to be passed soon?
Very, very. I think I cannot emphasize enough. So we are hoping that it will be very soon. Otherwise, I think the delay would cause enormous disruptions. So we need it very fast.
Thank you, Dr. Naufal. With permission from the foreign dignitaries here, I would like to ask, our closing statement will be in Divehi, because we want to connect with our public, because this recording will be watched later by the public. So, okay, my question also will be in Divehi, so for everyone. On swaleki, mi awmenna warag gina build take detto. Awanda mi drafters kureidane. Warabara lotake fastest kuredan detto. Mige muhimu swaleki awmenge aamu rayit mihaya migen kurani konkaha rangalo asuretto. Ei awmenge ebbes kurana swalek kannege. Ekon wara muhimu kamek kannege mi Maldives 2.0 ge mi project terega illegal framework pilag gotuga kuremi dani detto. Mi awada hiwane wara rangalo falek kannege. Ehennam wes aamu rayitu miha aamu viefari Sinaetaka konkahala rangalu asarutaketo kurani mi built a fast wegen diema kobato mige aslo maksadaki. Dr. Naufal furtu.
අරුණ දන්නවානේ මේ ෆුරතම හැම එකන සයිබර් සිකියුරිටි එංගලොන් අරුණ දන්නවා දන්නේ එහෙම බෙෆුන ෆුර්සතිම ගොතොන් රක්කාතෙරි අමාන් මීහුන්න බරෝසා කුරෙවේ කහලා ඉක්තිසෝදේ බිනා කුරුමට්ටක මේ සයිබර් සිකියුරිටි ලෝගේ සවබොන් එබ මජබූර් වෙකෙන් එන්දේ කොම්මස්වරක මේ ඉම්ප්ලිමන්ට් කුරන් එමෙ ආදායක ලෙවල්ලොන් ෆෙෂිගෙන් ගොස් එමෙ ක්‍රිටිකල් ඉන්ෆ්‍රාස්ට්‍රක්චර් දෙමෙදුගා ඔඩිටා අදි එහෙම වෙස් කොම්ප්ලයන්ස් මෙකැනිසම් ත එහෙම ඒගේ සවබොන් එබ දිබේ බාරු එරිකන් ඒජන්සියක් ගොස්ස රයිතුන්න ඉතුබාරු හෝදෙන් මියේ අලොන්වෙන්ගේ මේ ෆෝර් කොද්ද හිදමත්ත ගොහරි සිකියුරිටි ලෙවල් දක ඒගේ සවබොන් රයිතුන්න කුරානි හැම රගලු අදකම අලුන් ගබුලු කරන්නේ
අබ්දෝ
අලුණහිවනේ මීග විස්නාම මුහිමුකයි ඩොක්ටර් නෞෆල් විදාලෝ එහෙන් බාරවැරි කුරුම් බාරවැරි කුරු මී එම්මෙ මුහිමු මක්සදකි එයි හැම එකනි සයිබර් සිකියුරිටි එනු එහෙන් කන්තතක බලාලෑෆිකම වස් මීග එබ කුරේ වරගෙන මසෙක්කතේ ෆුරුතම ඒ මීහෙගේ අමිල්ල මවලුමාතකි කොබෑකම් අයිඩෙන්ටිෆයි කුරේවි ඒති බේනු කුරේවේනේ කොන් නිසාමෙ ගිතෙරෙන්කම් කිහිනෙක්කම් කොන් හග්ගුතකෙක්කම් උති ඒ හිසාබම් මි කුරිය මෙදනි දැන් අදි ව්‍යාපාරිතක විස් මිහාර ඔයින් හුරස්ත නත්තා දුමුග එමෙ බොඩු ටූල්ලකම් මෙවනි ama gaanunum miku for koddeve ehi gaanunun dibbade barwerikum em ei kanne galonde hewani mige gotu angade menwache ei rayita mihaya hamen anna hiduma ves adi viafaritaka mihar pura selif oin hidumetaka vis
now for 1 minute ingeto
me එහෙම බෙෆරුන් දක්කාෆි ගානුනි බාරුවරිකන් ලිබුනීම රයිතුන්න නූනියාමු ප්‍රයිවට් සෙක්ටර් ಗ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಕೊರ ಫರಾತಕ ವೆಸ್ ಎ ಕಾನೂನೆಗೆ ದಶುಂ ಎ ದಿಬಿದೆ ಹಗ್ಗುತಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇನು ಕುರುಂಗೆ ಫುರ್ಸತ್ ಹೆವ್ವಾ ಎಯ ಎಕ್ಕೊಂ ಅಣಹಿವನಿ ಅಳ್ಮೆಂ ಎಂಎಂ ವೆಸ್ ಗಬೂಲ್ ಕುರಂಗೆ ಮೆಜೆ ಕನ್ನೆ ಅದಿ ಕಾನೂನೆ ಫಾಸ್ವೆಗೆಂ ಅಯಸ್ ಎ ಕಾನೂನೆಗೆ ರಂಗಳು ಫಾದಾಯಂ ಅಳ್ಮೆನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಣುಕುರಾಣೆ ಎ ಕಾನೂನೆಂ ಅಳ್ಮೆಂ ಗಬೂಲ್ ನುಕುರಾಕಂ ಕಾಣೋತೆ ಎಗೋರಿ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ಸ್ ತಾಳ್ಮೆಂ ಗಬೂಲ್ ನುಕುರಾವಕ್ මියදු අල්මෙන් දක්කනි ඩේටා ප්‍රොටෙක්ෂන් නා ප්‍රයිවසි ගේ වාහක කොම්හෙන් ඩේටා ප්‍රොටෙක්ෂන් වත ප්‍රයිවසි ගානුනෙන් නෙතස් මිහාරුවස් ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි ගේ තෙරේගවස් ප්‍රයිවට් සෙක්ටර් ගේ තෙරේගස් අල්මෙන් ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් තක සෙට් කුරේ විදානේ ප්‍රයිවසි යා කුලේ ගොතුන් අයි ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රීම් ෆෝලෝ කුරාන ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් තක නොත ගයිඩ්ලයින් තක දවල්ත් ගේ ඉදාරා තකම ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් තකන් අමල් කුරාක මියදු කො එවස් හුරහෙන් නෙතේ ඒකන්තන් අල්මෙන මිහාරුවස් කුරේවේනේ එකන් කුරම් ෆෙෂුම් මුහිම්වා සබකි මි ගානුන්ත වුජූදුවකෙන් අන්නේරු ආමු රයීතුන්න මිසාලක ඩේටා ප්‍රොටෙක්ෂන් එක්ක දශුන් යෙදිබිදේ හග්ගුත එක්සර්සයිස් කුරේවේනි ඒ concept e privacy nota data protection ge concept aluming industry ge terege nota government sector ge terege wahakata dekevin kannenge e ආමු රයිතුනේ එක්සර්සයිස් කරුම්ගේ ෆුරසත් හගීගතු කල් තිබේනේ එහ මි ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් තනතු මි කානූන් තන් අන්නන් දෙන් මියදුම් ෆෙෂිගෙම සල්මෙන් එබජේ කන්නේගේ ඒ ප්‍රයිවසි යනත ඩේටා ප්‍රොටෙක්ෂන් නා ගුලේ ගොතුන් ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි ගේ මෙදුගස් තවොත් කී ඉදාරත ගු මෙදුගස් ඒ වහකත දෙකෙවි ඒ රයිට් ඔ එක්කන් ආමු මිහය එංගේ හිසාබන් එකන් කන්දාන් ඒර හගීගතු ගානූන් අවමුන් ඒ ගානූන් ගේ හගීගේ ෆෑදා කුරාන්
thank you Nawfal a very big round of applause to our esteemed panelists thank you
Thank you to our panelists and thank you Dr. Ibrahim Wahid for moderating the panel discussion. We will now break for lunch. The lunch will be ready in 2 minutes and we will see you in 1 hour. Thank you.